वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धः गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धार नीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवै रणनदी कैवर्तककेशवः यत्पदाम्भोरुहध्यान विध्वस्ताशेषकल्मषः वस्तुतामुपयातोऽहं यामुनेयं नमामि तं यदि परिबृढो यद्गीतानामदर्शय यदञ्जसा निगमपरिषन्येदीयांसं निरामयमाशयम् जनन पदवीयाता यातश्रमापहरां धियं जनयतु दे समे देव श्रीमान् धनञ्जय सारथिः नमः सदसे नमः सभाये. Under the benevolence and the benign blessings of the Astikas of the Gita Jayanti Consortium and the Foundation, we have had 3 days of lectures. Day 1 was yesterday, day 2 is today, and one more day you'll have to tolerate, which is tomorrow. So it has been scheduled between 7 and 9 p.m. And the topic that I have been ordained to speak for the 3 days is the Navamodhyaya, the 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In Sanatana Dharma, we don't have one work which is alone treated as the holy book. For us, we have a huge library in front of us. Vedas form the very root of this dharma. Vedas, along with the Vedangas, are extremely important. But the quintessence of the Vedas and the Vedangas, when put together, thus come in the form of the Itihasas and the Puranas. Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupabrahmayet is the invocatory verse that our Acharyas time and again quote in their commentaries. Amongst the Itihasas, Srimad Ramayanam by Valmiki Maharshi and Sri Mahabharatam by Vyasacharya or Krishna Dvaipayana are extremely important. A month and a half back, I was extremely fortunate to be speaking on the greatness of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam in the very same premises. There are 6 qualities or probably the distinct features of Vishnu Sahasranamam. The commentators say, Mahabharata Saratvat, Rishibhif Pariganataha, Vedacharya Samaharat, Bhishmotkrishtha Matattvataha, Parigrahati Gita-Tyaikardhakaschanaha. What are the 6 qualities of Vishnu Sahasranamam that make it quite unique? As I was having darshanam of Paramatma inside the temple, Vishnu Sahasranamam was being played in the background. What are the 6 features? Mahabharata Saratvat. Vishnu Sahasranamam is the essence of Mahabharata. Mahabharata Saratvat. Second, Rishibhif Pariganataha. The 1,000 names that have been put together as a compendium by Bhishmacharya as an answer to the 6 questions as raised by Yudhishthira is none but chosen by the rishis. Rishibhif Pariganataha. Third, Vedacharya Samaharat. The one who has compiled and presented to us, who is Vyasa, is none but the same person who classified the Vedas for us. Vedacharya Samaharat. Fourth, Bhishmot Krishna Matatvataha. It is no normal person who spoke or rendered those namas. It is Bhishma, one of the greatest devotees, the bhaktas of Paramatma, who spoke Vishnu Sahasranamam. Bhishmot Krishna Matatvataha. Is Vishnu Sahasranamam celebrated and accepted by all? Has it received some of the distinct testimonials from Acharyas? Parigrahati. Even works that talk about medical science like Charaka Samhita, Shushruta, and works like Kadambari speak about the greatness of Vishnu Sahasranamam. Parigrahati Shayataha. What is the sixth feature? Gita Tekartha Kaschanaha. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is in Vishnu Sahasranamam. So this is what I spoke 1.5 months back here. I said Vishnu Sahasranamam is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. In 1.5 months time, I have come to speak about Bhagavad Gita. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is given as an answer or answers to the questions raised by Arjuna, is called Bhagavad Gita. It should have been called Krishna Gita. No, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is no different from Bhagavan. Bhagava. Between 7:15 and 7:25 yesterday we discussed in the same place, Bharatavarshe, Singapore Kande, Malaysiam Dakshina Parshve, Indonesiayam Dvipa Mahanagara Uttare. We learnt all of this yesterday. What did we see? That 700 verses have been housed in 18 chapters. The number 18 gives us the word? Very good. Jaya. It's Jaya, that is Tamil Nadu. So Jaya is Mahabharatam. So Mahabharatam is called Jaya because the number 18 is very significant. In Sri Mahabharatam we have 18 parvas. One of the parvas is Bhishma Parva. In Bhishma Parva, on day 1 of the Mahabharata Yuddham, Arjuna commands Krishna, his Sarathi, to place the chariot in the middle of the battlefield and answer to his questions. Such questions and such answers put together is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad has 6 gunas: Jnana Bala, Aishwarya Virya, Shakti Tejas. Bhagavad, he is God, he is a repository of all auspicious attributes. Does he have negative qualities? No. No is the word na. Na comes from an. Bhagava plus an is Bhagavan. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Krishna answers the questions. So he begins with chapter 1 and culminates with the 18th chapter. Chapter 1 to chapter 6 is Prathama Shatkam. Chapter 7 to chapter 12 is Madhyama Shatkam. Chapter 13 to chapter 18 is Antima, the Tritiya Shatkam. In the Prathama Shatkam, the first set of 6 chapters, Krishna encapsulates the importance of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Chapter 7 to chapter 12, Madhyama Shatkam, he talks clearly about Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is also called Sadhana or Upasana. Now, why are you said it is not Jaya and Jaya. Then why are you not saying Upasan? Because in Sanskritam it is Strilinga Vachaka Shabdam. It is not Upasan, it is Upasana. It is not Sadhan, it is Sadhana. So Sadhana, Upasana is also called Bhakti Yoga. If he has answered and elucidated the importance of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga from chapter 1 to 12, why did he have to waste Arjuna's time and our time from chapter 13 to 18? Because he knew very well about us. We will have doubts from chapter 1 to chapter 12. Those doubts were cleared between chapter 13 and chapter 18. In that series, in the Madhyama Shatkam, chapter 7 and chapter 8, he spoke about the importance of Bhakti Yoga. But he has to talk about himself. Sir, isn't this self-loathing? Isn't it about blowing your own trumpet? Nobody is blowing, so he blew. Nobody else is blowing. So he thought, let me talk about myself. See, at times humility and modesty is also a big disadvantage. So he said, let me not be humble for some time. Let me talk about my greatness. That greatness comes in the Navamodhyayam. Navamodhyayam is Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. In that, the first shloka is Idam tute guhyatamam. See, there are 4 levels of speech. It is para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikari. Shastram says that when you utter a word, it is called spotavadam. How do you get that word? You say the word spelling, right? So your brain has to command, your tongue has to execute. If it doesn't, then it leads to fraternation, bradykinesia and akinesia. These are the symptoms that they talk in Parkinson's. So now your brain has to command. Then you should know the meaning of that word. There are 4 levels. Para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikari. 4 levels. Paradichattvari vagatmakam pranava swarupa. So it has to come. For that, Tyagaraja Swami says, Nabhi krikantarasanana sadhu lillo shobhillu sataswara. So the word has to come from the Nabhi. Now, idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñātva mokshase shubhat. So in the Ubodghata shlokam, Ubodghatam in Sanskritam means inauguration. So the first verse is the inauguration for Navamodhyayam. He said, Idam tu, this yoga, Bhakti Yoga Arjuna, which is superior to Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga that I have detailed in the previous chapters, Guhyatamam, it is a secret. Is it a secret alone? Asked Arjuna. Krishna said, no, it is the best among secrets. Guhya Tamam. So that Tama Shabdam means best. Guhya Tamam. Then whom are you going to reveal this to? Krishna? To you and to the Astikas of Simhapuri. All of you all. So Krishna is revealing now. Guhyatamam pravakshyam yanasuyave. Pravakshyami. I am going to tell you in detail so that you will never have the pain of asking me questions, Arjuna. Pravakshyami. Then Arjuna asked, am I special? Am I that special, Krishna? Absolutely yes. Anasuyave. As I am speaking, you are not get angry. That itself shows that you are a very patient listener. Anasuyave. Oh non-jealous listener, listen to me. Anasuyave. Then Krishna asked, Arjuna asked, so you have told me that you are going to tell the best of secrets. What is that? That is when Krishna says Jnanam. What does Jnanam denote here? Knowledge about Mendeleev's periodic table. What Jnanam? Bhakti Yogam. Jnanam is Bhakti Yogam. Then is he going to stop with Bhakti Yogam? No. He is going to tell about the special features that are embroidered and associated with Bhakti Yogam. So Bhakti Yogam is Jnanam. Vijnanam is the special features of Bhakti Yogam. Jnanam, Vijnana Sahitam. Along with it, Yajñātva. By knowing which, I am sure, Arjuna, you will also practice. Yajñātva Mokshase. Because this will lead, Bhakti Yogam will lead you to Moksham. But for getting moksha, how should your account be? 0. If your account has to be 0, nil balance, there should neither be punyam nor papam. Papam is sinful deed, ashubham. Punyam, that is golden fetter. So that is also ashubham. So I will eradicate your ashubham and give you moksham. Mokshase ashubha. This is the first verse. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. Pavitram idam uttamam pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. Then Arjuna asked, you have given a lot of thrill. See, generally for a movie there will be a trailer. The director will generally believe the trailer has to be interesting. Even if the movie is not, trailer has to be interesting. Then only you can bring that person to the theatre. After he has paid that money, you can give a very bad product. So, the trailer has to be interesting. The first verse is the trailer. They say, right, picture baki hai mera dost. From second verse, it is picture baki hai. So, he says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. I am going to speak about that knowledge, which is the king. Is it the king which has to do with the male, masculine? No. Raja Vidya. King here means that which is superior. Is it a secret? Yes. It is the king amongst the knowledge streams, it is also the king amongst secretive passages. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. How is this? It is a purifier, Pavitram. Is it the best? Uttamam. So Uttama. About 2 minutes back I said, right? Guhya Tama. Tama means best. Uttama. Tama again means best. So Uttamam. So that is when he says Pratyaksha Vagamam. Pratyaksha Vagamam. So Avagamam is knowledge. Here Bhakti Yoga. Pratyaksha Vagamam. So that you can see. Jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. As you derive the knowledge of the Navamodhyayam Arjuna, towards the end of it, as you listen, as you contemplate, you will be able to see. That is when he says Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukham. That will give you bliss. Then he says Kartum Avyayam. Avyayam, imperishable. That will never ever be perishable. It will not decay. It will not get destroyed. That which is imperishable, that which is eternal, that which is perpetual, that kind of Bhakti Yoga knowledge, Arjuna, I am going to tell you in this chapter. That is when Arjuna asks, what are you going to tell me in the third verse? First you recite, Arjuna, then I will tell you. Ashraddhana Purusha. Ashraddhana Purusha. Dharmasyasya parantapa. Aprapyamam nivartante. Mrityu samsara vartmani. There are two ways of dealing with your listener. Let's take a mother or a father for example. They will always tell, there is a way of telling, my dear child, Agni is one amongst the Panchabhutas. I've heard from various sources that if you place your fingers in blazing fire, it will burn you. The child will never listen. You go, keep your fingers in that fire, you see what will happen. This is another way of saying. So Krishna till now knew Arjuna's psychology very well. He will keep on asking questions about the positive person. So Krishna now thought, let me do the reverse. See, there are two ways of answering questions in entrance exams. You take the question, take the input information that is given and calculate. That is one way. Second method is called answer by rejection method. You will say, this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer, so automatically this should be the answer. So this is called answer by rejection. You don't calculate, you negate and come to the positive answer. So Krishna now clearly tells who are those kind of people who will never listen to him. So that Arjuna knows that he should not fall into that category. So he says, Ashraddhana Purusha. Hey Arjuna, there are some people, Ashraddhana. They will never listen to whatever I say in the Shastras. Dharmasyasya parantapa. They will keep on questioning me. Aprapyamam nivartante. Trust me, Arjuna, they will stay back in this world. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam is written exclusively for them. Mrityu samsara vartmani. They will go body after body, jantu after jantu, achit avisishtan pralaye jantun, avalokya jata nirveda, karanakalebara yogam vidarasi vrishashaila natha karunetvam, says Vedanta Deshika. They will stay back. Now, Arjuna says, Krishna, you have covered only 3 shlokas in the previous lecture. How many will you cover today? So Krishna says it depends on the speaker. If he does not digress too much, he will be able to cover more. So the 4th verse is Maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani Nachaham deshvyavasthitaha. I will read out the Sanskrita passage, the commentary first. Idam chetana acetanatmakam kritsnam jagat avyakta murtina aprakashita swarupena maya antaryamina tatam asya jagataha dharanartham niyamanartham cha sheshitvena vyaptam ityarthaha yatha antaryami brahmaneyaha prithvivyam tishthan yam prithvi naveda Yam Atmani Tishtan Yamatmanaveda iti Chetana Achetana Vastujataihi Adrishtena Antaryamina Tatra Tatra Vyaptihi Ukta Tato Matsthani Sarvabhutani Sarvani Bhutani Mai Antaratmani Sthitani Tatrayeva Brahmane Yasya Prithvi Shariram Yaha Prithivim Antaro Yamayati Yasya Atma Shariram Ya Atmane Antaro Yamayati Iti Sharirattvena Niyamyatva Pratipadanatu Yadayatte Sthitaniyamane Pratipadite Sheshitvam Cha Nacha Aham Teshu Avasthita Aham Tu Na Tadayathastitihi Matsthitau Taihi Na Kaschidu Pakara Ityaktaha. This alone I am going to explain in the next 10 minutes. Whatever I have said now. Idam Sarvam Jagat. So if you look at the Anvayakramam, Maya Tadam Idam Sarvam Jagat. Correct. Idam Sarvam Jagat. Idam, this. Sarvam Jagat. Whatever you see as Jagat, universe around you. What does Krishna indicate by saying Jagat? So he says, Chetana Achetanaatmakam. Now let us get into these words now. Chetana, you must have heard of this word. Achetana, whatever is Chetana is Chetana. Whatever is not Chetana is Achetana. Then how do we find the root word for this? The root word comes from the word Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam is knowledge. If you go to the Astikas, especially of Andhra Desham and Telangana Pradesham, you will come across this name very frequently. Chaitanya, Chaitanya. So Chaitanya means knowledge. So the one who possesses knowledge is called Chaitana. Is it clear? Chaitanya is knowledge. One who possesses knowledge is called Chaitanyam. This is what Viki Purana tells. But there is a problem here. You have to go one step deeper to understand this word Chaitana. Now I will give the definition and I will explain. That which is the substratum to knowledge is called Chaitana. You should not say that which possesses knowledge. No sir, as per Chat GPT, he is Prathamacharya, Purvacharya Surakshitam Bahumatim Yadhata Durastitam. Chat GPT will tell that which possesses knowledge. Wrong. It is a substratum to knowledge. How do we understand this? Now I am going to explain two terms. You have to remember this. Then only it will be easy for you. One is called Dharmi Jnanam. The second is called Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. There are two forms of knowledge. Knowledge 1, knowledge 2. Dharmi Jnanam, Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. That which is knowledge personified, which is the Jivatma, is Dharmi. That knowledge has only one function. It will keep on telling the word, letter I. See, for example, imagine you slept well after Bhagavad Gita lecture. Not during. After the Gita lecture, you have slept well. You had good sleep in your house. Next day, somebody calls you. How did you sleep? I slept well. What slept? The body, not the Atma. Because if the Atma had slept, you would have never used the letter I. So what slept well was the body, not the Atma. That Atma didn't sleep, but that Atma is denoted by I. But you combine the both and you say I slept well. Now, let us go deeper in this. This I is that Jivatma. And that I, if you go one step deeper, is Dharmi Jnanam. There is a very local or a colloquial way of telling this in Tamil. Tenjippona tape recorder. Which means you keep repeating the same thing. I. It won't do anything else. That knowledge is called Dharmi Jnanam. There is the second knowledge called Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. When one of the Pancha Jnanendriyas comes in contact with the Vastu, that knowledge gets activated. It is called Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. I'll give you an example. Say at the age of 2, my maternal or paternal grandfather lifts me up and says, see there, light, that's light. So I associate the word uttered by my grandfather light with the vastu. So my ear hears the word light. My eye sees the vastu light. So the mapping is done. This vastu is light. The quality of it is to emanate light, and that is called light. Now, this was told to me by my grandfather. 10 days later, the same grandfather carries the same me in his hand, and looking at the light, I tell my grandfather, light, light. So he is amazed. He has not heard Bhagavad Gita. He thinks that such a great grandchild is born only to him and his family. No. What the child does is, there is a mapping that happens in the brain. The moment the eye comes in contact with that light, a photo is captured and sent to the cell, and the archives are retrieved. So then it says, take the file, it is called light. So the brain urges my tongue to say light. I have already mapped that vastu with that word earlier. Now, the moment I see that object, that knowledge that this is light gets activated. This knowledge is called Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. It gets activated only when one of the Pancha Indriyas, Jnana Indriyas, comes in contact with that object. 24/7 I won't be thinking about the light. Only if I see the light, it will get activated. Same do it that with masal vada. Masal vada, the grandmother says, this is masal vada. So the next time I smell, I'll say masal vada. So that smell activates my knowledge. So there are two types of knowledge, dharmi jnanam, dharma bhuta jnanam. So the jivatma, that which is the substratum to dharma bhuta jnanam, is called chetana. That which is not the substratum to dharma bhuta jnanam is called achetana. So this jagat comprises of chetana and achetana. So Krishna says, idam sarvam jagat. Hey Arjuna, this jagat that comprises of chetana and achetana, avyakta murtina. What is this avyakta murti? Yesterday between 7:45 and 7:50, I told two words, Rupam and Swarupam. You remember that Rupam is the external feature, Swarupam is the innate or the inherent nature. So he says, Avyakta Murtina. The moment you see Murti, you should not think form. Here he says, Avyakta Murtina, the nature of that particular object. So it means the Swarupam. Maya Tatam. In all this Jagat, hey Arjuna, I am present. Now Arjuna will ask this question. How do you prove this? That is when there is a reference given by the commentator. Yaha prithivyam tishthan, yaha atmani tishthan, prithivyam. So Prithvi, don't worry, this will be explained in the subsequent verses. We will go detail. Whatever I have told till now is very easy. We are going to go one step after the other. I have told you, Bhagavad Gita is nobody's cakewalk. These words can't be used for Bhagavad Gita. Else Adi Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya wouldn't have commented if it is a cakewalk. It is tough. But there is always a beauty enjoying something which is very tough. Because while I used to study, there used to be an event called OHT, Overhead Transmission. If most of the things don't reach our head, we will feel as if we are listening to something very superior. Arjuna too felt that. Even we should feel that way. Yaha prithivyam tishthan. Prithvi is achetana vastu vachakam. I just explained chetana and achetana some time back. In that, I have to talk one step deeper about this dharmi jnanam and dharma bhuta jnanam. See, this dharma bhuta jnanam uses the dharmi jnanam as the base. But jnanam is there in both. How do we understand this? The easiest example is Mysore Pak. See, nothing like the kitchen to understand Bhagavad Gita. See, I'll tell you now easy. Now this is an easy, interesting portion. I'll tell you the recipe for Mysore Pak. So, Mysore Pak, you use besan flour, kadala mavu, and then you use sugar, you use tins of ghee, and then you use all those utensils that is used to make this particular sweet. So you make a sugar syrup. There is one way. Yogambad Sundar explains this way. What she says is, make the sugar syrup and then add the basin flour. This is one way. Whereas in Krishna sweets, I checked with them. What they do is, they add sugar later. That is another way of making. Whichever way, we use sugar. So the sugar that is used while the Mysore pak is made gets dissolved. So the sugar gets dissolved. So you can't specifically tell that there is sugar here and sugar is not here. It completely permeates and pervades the sweet. As you reach a certain padam means a state, because if you take it very late when it is soaring high, then you can construct house with it. You put some cement, you can construct Mysore pak. It is Mysore stone, not pak. If you take it a few minutes before, it is Mysore halwa. So you should use the right proportion of sugar and take it out from the flame at the right time. And then you grease a plate with, say, a lubricant like the ghee, and then you put the concoction on it and let it rest. You should not let it go cold. At one stage where it is not extremely hot nor has turned cold, there is a habit of sprinkling some sugar at the top. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Not made this. Have you seen? See, every word that I choose is more careful than Krishna. So, when you have seen this, you know what is the effect of this? That sugar which you sprinkle at a certain time will never dissolve in that Mysore pak. At the same time, it will not come out of that Mysore pak. That sugar crystal will stick to the Mysore pak. The sugar which was already added prior has pervaded and permeated inside the Mysore pak. But this sugar crystal sticks on the Mysore pak. That sugar which is permeated and pervaded inside the Mysore pak is dharmi jnanam. That which is stuck on it is called dharma bhuta jnanam. You are able to understand Mysore pak? Now, this Prithvi is Bhumi. Bhumi vachaka Prithvi. See, these are all very related words. Prithu, there was a king in Bhagavad Mahapuranam called Prithu. He is said to have obtained and extracted different forms of wealth from Mother Earth, Bhumi. Since Prithu extracted from her, she was called Prithvi. Since this girl came by the blessings of Mother Earth, she was called Pritha. This Pritha was given in adoption to a king called Kunti Bhoja. Kunti Bhoja also called her Kunti. So Pritha was also called Kunti. Pritha had sons. Being the son of Pritha, he was called Partha. Since Krishna became the Sarathi to Partha, he is called Partha Sarathi. So Prithu, Prithvi, Pritha, Partha, Partha Sarathi. See the derivation. Similarly, Upanishad says, Yaf Prithivyam Tishthan. Prithvi is representative of Achetanam. So Upanishad says, the one who stays within Achetanam, Yaha Atmani Tishthan. Atma is representative of Chetanam. Atma represents Chetanam. Prithvi represents Achetanam. What did Krishna say? Idam Sarvam Jagat. This world that comprises Chetanam and Achetanam, I am there. Is it supported in the Upanishads? The Upanishad Vakyam is Yaha Prithivyam Tishthan. The one who stays in Achetanam, which is represented by Prithvi, Yaha Atmani Tishthan. The one who stays in the Jivatma, that is me, Arjuna. Now, Vyaktamurti and Avyaktamurti. What does Krishna say? Maya tadam tata idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurti. So that means there is Vyaktamurti and Avyaktamurti. See now, imagine there will be some families which will have members with the same name. There will be Srinivasan, 4 Srinivasans in the house. So one Srinivasan will be called Ashat Chima. Not so disciplined or mischievous Chima. So if there is mischievous Chima, automatically there should be a well-disciplined and a seasoned Chima. So now Krishna says, Arjuna, Avyakta Murti I have pervaded. If Avyakta Murti is there, then Vyakta Murti should be there. Who is this Vyakta Murti? Vyakta Murti is the external form, Rupam. Remember? Avyakta Murti is Swarupam. So the one who pervades or permeates within is called Avyakta Murti. Now he goes one step ahead. He says, Maya Tata Idam Sarvam Jagad Avyakta Murtina Matsthani Sarvabhutani Nachaham Teshu Avasthitaha. Matsthani Sarvabhutani. All this that you see, Arjuna, are under me. Understandable, sir. इसको बोलने के लिए आप भारत से आए हैं, क्या joke है? All are under me. Understandable. Then he confuses. Krishna always has this habit of confusing. Why? Only when you confuse your listener, that person will listen attentively. Right? So he says, Aham na teshu avasthitaha. Then he says, first he says, Matsthani sarva bhutani. All this that you see, Arjuna, are under me. Arjuna says, what is that emoticon? He says, yes, understandable. Then he says, Aham na cheteshu avasthitaha. But I am not in them. They are under you, okay. But you are not under them. Then why did you say the entire creation is me? If you are not in them, then how do you say they are, I am there in them? Then Arjuna, Krishna says, wait patiently, Arjuna. I am going to clear that doubt in the next shloka. Next shloka is, Nacha Matsthani Bhutani. Let us recite this verse. Nacha Matsthani Bhutani Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram Bhuta Bhrinna Cha Bhutastho Mamatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. I will read out the commentary, then I will get into the meaning. Nachamatstani bhutani na ghatadinam jaladehe iva mama dharakatvam katham matsankalpena pashya mama aishwaram yogam anyatya kutrachit asambhavaniyam matsadharanam aschyaryam yogam pashya kaha asau yogaha bhuta bhrinna cha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavanaha sarvesham bhutanam bhato aham nacha taihi kaschid api mama upakaraha mama atma eva bhuta bhavanaha mama manomayaha sankalpa eva bhutanam bhavayita dharayita niyanta cha sarvasya asya swasankalpaya yatta sthiti pravrittitve nidarshanam aha. Now he says nachamatstani bhutani. So initially he said that the chetana and achetana are under me. Then he gives out a statement stating that I am not in them. Then how do we understand? Arjuna asks this question. To which he says, I am not in them. Listen to the statement. I am not in them. The same way that you have thought them to be under me. This me in the me may remind you of some island talk. But Krishna gets very close to that. Now, so he says, now I have to explain this. Nachamatstani bhutani. Okay. There are two more. Now I have to introduce word after word. Don't get confused. Adharam, adheyam. Adharam means that which is the supporter, substratum. That which is supported is called adheyam. Now, after we read this, Krishna goes one step ahead. He says, okay, when pralayam happens, now all this pralaya shabdam will come. Pralayam, all these words we will introduce one step after the other. The Lord is called Narayana. I told you about the word Ramayana yesterday. You remember? Rama plus Ayana, Ramayana. That na became na. Purva padatu sanyaya magaha. Same rule applies to Narayana. Nara plus Ayana is not Narayan, then that person needs to go to Samskrita Bharati and do courses. Nara plus Ayana is not Narayana, it is Narayana. So this Narayana is very important. What is that? Naranam Ayanam Yasya Saha Narayanaha. What does Naranam mean? Naranam means Samuham of Chetana and Achetana. So there are 2-3 derivatives of the word Narayana. Narayana means the one who floats in water. First definition, simple. I don't know if I've told you this in Simhapuri. There is a way of making dahi vada. Tair vadai. We call it tair vadai in the south. Dahi vada in the north. How do we do dahi vada or tair vadai? You have to take urad dal. And you'll have to soak that in water. Then use ultra grinder. Grind it really into a fine paste. Then add some green chilies if you want. Some green chilies to taste. That is how most of the cooks will say. Then you put that paste, put one Rasa Mandala Madhye Mani. You have to put one hole in the middle like Rasa Krida. And then put it into oil so that you can block as many capillaries as possible. So you put that into oil and it will start getting as crispy as possible. You take that, you are going to make dahi vada. You have to first put it into buttermilk. Remember this is one tip, note it down. So once you put it in buttermilk, it will become soft from the within. Then you have to take it outside, take some coconut, some curds, some green chilies, grind it and then put it over the top and some bundi. Pattappa will do that. So this is the formula. Now when my grandmother used to make dahi vada, and at that intermediate stage, when that dahi vada floats in that buttermilk, my grandfather used to say, look at Narayana. Because Narayana Shabda means that which floats in water. Then I used to ask him, it just floats in water, how are you comparing it to Narayana? If you consume more, you will reach Narayana. So the definition is, that which floats in water is Narayana. First definition. Definition 1.0. 2.0 is Naranam Ayanam Yasya Saha. The one who has got Naranam. Naranam means the group of Chetana and Achetana as his body is called Narayana. How do we understand the term body? It is as if he has used a blanket. Some of the Harry Potter fans will call it the invisibility cloak. You put that over you. So Paramatma will have Chetana and Achetana as his cloth. How do we understand this? In Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam there is a shlokam. Bhuppadau yasya nabhihi Vyadasura Chandra Surya Ucha Netre Karna Vashaha Shirodyauhu Mukhamapidahano Yasya Vasteyam Abhihi Antastham Yasya Vishwam Sura Nara Khaga Go Bhogi Gandharva Daityehi Chitram Ram Ramyatedam Tribhuvana. Till now the entire universe has been described. Acharya says Tribhuvana Vapusham. The entire universe that I have described in 3.5 lines. Hey Paramatma Vapusham, that is your body. Vishnu Isham Namami. So the Lord will have an invisibility cloak. What is that cloak? That comprises of Chetana and Achetana. So Narayana means the one who is the Adharam for Chetana and Achetana. Chetana and Achetana is represented by the word Naranam. Ayanam means Adharam. Naranam, Chetana, Achetana. Ayanam, Adharam. Naranam, Ayanam, the one who is the Adharam, substratum, supporter of Chetana and Achetana is called Narayana. Point 1. Now Krishna says very clearly to Arjuna, this way I support the entire creation. Next line he says, I don't support. Then Arjuna asked, why did you say then support? He said, now this entire creation is my body. But in that creation, I have pervaded inside that creation. See, you have to, you cannot do both simultaneously. For example, if a person says, where is your mother? Inside the house. Then who is the one outside the house? She is also my mother. As long as the person has two mothers, in terms of Krishna, because he had Devaki and Yashoda. Most of us who have only one mother, either she can be inside the house or outside the house. Krishna tells Arjuna, I am the one who supports the entire creation. Understandable. Next step he says, I pervade that creation. I get inside that creation. Then Arjuna asks, how is that possible? That is when Krishna says, Pashyame Yogamaishwaram. This is my special ability, Arjuna. That's why in Sahasranamam we say, Abhyayaha Purushaha Sakshi. Sakshi means witness. He stays within you. See, generally, Singapore is a very fine city. But generally, if a person, a human being, wants to discard something which is a waste, not himself, something waste, what will be the general attribute? You will look like this, you will look like that, and then discard. But Sahasranamam says you have not recited well. Avyayaha Purushaha Sakshi. Somebody is seeing you from within. Aren't you aware? Because how should we see before discarding? This way, that way, and here. But we are not aware that somebody is seeing us from within, because we don't understand and the concept of how can Paramatma permeate or pervade within me. This is the same question Arjuna had. Arjuna said, agreed that you support the creation, but are you within the creation? Yes. Then Arjuna asked, how is this possible? That is what Arjuna, I told you, Yogamaishwaram. This is my divine characteristic of supporting you while being within you. Antarbahischa tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. He is within and outside. He permeates, pervades and supports. Antarbahischa tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. Then Arjuna asked, then what are you called? He says, Bhuta Bhrit. Have you heard of this name somewhere? Sahasranamam. See, Vishnu Sahasranamam and Bhagavad Gita are so compatible. Bhuta Bhrit, Bhuta Bhavanaha, Bhutatma, Paramatma cha. So, whatever Krishna has said, Bhishma repeated. See, there was a CCTV camera from this to Bhishma. Bhishma noted it down. He knew in a few days from now he will fall on the Sharatalpagato Bhishma on the bed of pharaohs. He repeated whatever Krishna said. Just that there was no copyright issue. Now, Bhuta Bhrit, Mamatma, it is my will. You must have heard of this other verse. Dhyausa Chandrarka Nakshatraha Khamdisho Bhurmaho Dadihi Vasudevasya Viryena Vidhrutani Mahatmanaha. See, the question is, Krishna asked Arjuna, Arjuna, do you see sun? Yes. Moon? In the night. Do you see the stars? Yes. How are they in those places? Even I used to wonder, Krishna, how are they in those places? Vasudevasya Viryena. I have commanded them to stay in those places. Krishna, you are here next to me eating butter. Eating butter, Amul on one hand. How can you command the nakshatrams there? Vasudevasya Viryena. My Sankalpa Shakti makes me command. Hey Krishna, give me a modern example of understanding this. In drone camera, when no connection is there, you are able to control what is able to fly. That Sankalpa Shakti with which you do is called Viryam in Sanskritam. Vasudevasya Viryena. Sankalpa Shakti. How do we understand? Have you heard of this word Sankalpam? See, Sankalpam is used in two contexts. If you do any samskara in Sanatana Dharma, the Purohita, who is a Purohita? Priest. Who is priest? Purohita. See, Purohita means exactly well-wisher. Hita Shabdam means that which is very applicable and beneficial to you. Hita. Purohita, he is not linked by any familial relationship to you. He is actually a third person to your family, yet thinks good for you. Purohita. He stays outside your family, yet thinks good for you. Purohita. The Purohita sits for the samskara in your family and says, first do Sankalpam Mamopartha Samasta Duridakshe Dwara and the Kayabechungo Shriman Narayana Prityartam. So you do that Sankalpam. Sankalpam is a beautiful analytical geometrical plate. Based on space and time, you say in this particular point, this particular space, hey Paramatma, I am propitiating you through this samskara, at least for the money that I have spent on the resources for the samskara and the time that I give, please make my son pass. That is that samskara. So you do that samskara. That is one sankalpam, where you vow, where you pledge. The second mukhyartham for sankalpam is divine will. Generally we say Paramatma has the sankalpam to control. What is this sankalpam? Divine will. Do we have that? No. If we can control so many people. We are not able to control. That is the whole problem. So he has got divine will. How do we understand this? I will give you one mundane example so that you can understand sankalpam. Imagine that I have a friend. So I call him home. Generally I am good, don't worry. Somebody home. I tell my friend, I stay in the second floor. My building doesn't have lift, no elevator. You have to climb the stairs and reach my house. This friend asks, which house number? 2G. Where is the apartment? I give him some Periyar colony. I'm just giving one example. At least for namesake, let us use this name. So, Periyar colony, 2G apartment. So, second floor. That day, incidentally, when my friend comes, it is a Amavasya Ratri. Dark night, new moon night, no light. He doesn't carry a torch. The lights have gone away. There is no power. So he has to somehow decide with whatever little knowledge he is bestowed with by Paramatma where my house is. He knows that 2G is in the second floor. He knows that he has to climb the stairs. As he climbs step 1, step 2, he reaches step 10. He assumes that there is a step 11. When he keeps his foot, there he gets hit on the dark, hard ground and then realizes, oh, the steps have stopped with step 10. Correct? You have understood till now? Then he reaches my house, whatever I have, dokla, fafra, khandvi, tepla, I give him. Imagine the next day I ring up Paramatma. Hello Mr. Paramatma, please you are invited home. Paramatma also reaches my home. It is a dark night. The lights have gone away. Paramatma doesn't carry a torch. He has to climb up the steps and come. He climbs step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like my friend, Paramatma also assumes or thinks that there is the 11th step. When he places his foot, he will not be hit like my friend. The 11th step will come there. Because he has thought there is 11th step, that 11th step has to come. When he thinks, it is executed. This divine thought that gets converted into action is called sankalpam. Do you understand sankalpam? Now Krishna says, Mamatma. Arjuna, that Mamatma, the one who pervades, Antarvyapti, Bahirvyapti. So Antarvyapti. Antarvyapti means Niyantra Samatyam. See, now the one who permeates or pervades the Jivatma is Paramatma. He controls us from the within and he commands. How do we understand this? In Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam, there is the third Nama. What is the third Nama? Too many questions, sir. Vashatkaraha. I will give you one anecdote that my Acharya always keeps telling for this Nama. After the 12 years of Vanavasam and Ekavarsham of Ajnatavasam, the year of incognito, the Panchapandavas along with Draupadi and their Purohita called Dhaumya reached the capital of Panchala called Kampilya. So in Kampilya, Drupada is there, the father-in-law. He says, Yudhishthira, I think you need to get back Indraprastha again. They send one Brahmana as the messenger. That Brahmana gets slapped on both his cheeks by Duryodhana and he returns. That is when they are confused how to convince this Duryodhana. That is when Krishna says, don't worry, I will go as your messenger. Pandava Duta, I will go as your Rajaduta, I will go as Pandava Duta. So the news spreads like wildfire that the Dwarakadish, The monarch of Dwaraka, for the sake of his cousins and friends called Pandavas, is coming as a messenger. Now Duryodhana calls for a board meeting. Bhishma, immediately there is a WhatsApp group. All of you arrive at hall number C7. So all of them, they all arrive. Minutes of the meeting, the secretary writes, Bhishma's seat is assigned, Drona's seat is assigned, Kripacharya's seat is assigned. Everybody is there. Then Bhishmacharya makes sure that it is video recorded. He fixes up one video person and says, please record the proceedings of the meeting. Duryodhana says, I have heard that my Sambandhi is coming tomorrow. You know how is he Sambandhi? Because Duryodhana's daughter was married to Krishna's son. Krishna had a wife called Jambavati. Jambavati had a son called Shambha. Shambha was married to Duryodhana's daughter. So they were Sambandhis with each other. So that is when Krishna says, my Sambandhi Krishna is coming tomorrow. But remember, he is not coming as my relative. He is coming as a messenger of the wretched Pandavas tomorrow in the Sabha Mantapam. If anyone does whatever they feel, you will have to face the music from them. That is when Bhishmacharya looks at Vidura. Vidura was the only wise brother of Dhritarashtra. Bhishmacharya says 3 in 1,000. This is what my Acharya tells me. This is not there in Mahabharata. This particular line my Acharya used to say. Bhishma told Vidura 3 in 1,000. And Vidura said 3 in 1,000, 3 in 1,000. Poor Dronacharya did not know this code word. ये दोनों क्या बात कर रहे हैं 3 in 1,000, 3 in 1,000. Bhishma said, wait and see. Next day, what command had Duryodhana issued? Do not do whatever you all wish. Do whatever I do. Do you get that? He was nodded yes. The next day, when Krishna came, all of them rose from their seats. They all welcomed Krishna by rising from their seats. Duryodhana was extremely upset. He was angry. After Krishna had left, he said, how dare you all stood up? Bhishmacharya said, keep quiet. Call that video person. Bring that video. They played that video. When Krishna entered the Sabha Mantapam, the first person to rise from the seat was Duryodhana. What did he say? Follow what I do. So they all followed. They said, don't blame us. We did what you did. You stood up. Then Duryodhana was confused. He went and asked Bhishma, how did I stand up? Because Bhishma said, the one who commands you from the within is the one who came outside. Antarbahischa tatsarvam. He came. The one who commands from the within is the controller. That is called Niyantra Samarthyam. Niyanta means controller. Vasham. The one with whom you get control. What is that nama of the Lord that describes his Niyantra Samarthyam? Vashatkaraha. What is that nama? The third nama. In what? Sahasranama. That is why the code word was 3 in 1,000. You are able to get that Vashatkaraha. So Vashatkaraha describes the Niyantra Samarthyam. So Antarvyapti, the one who pervades the Jivatma from the within, is the same Lord as Bahirvyapti, the one who pervades us from the outside. So Krishna says, Mama Atma, hey Arjuna, the one who commands you from the within, who is me, is the same person who is speaking to you now. Do not think just because I am outside, I can't be inside. Mama Atma, that is when the shloka reads, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani. All the creation of Chetana and Achetana that you see, I am the Adharam. But while I am inside them, I pervade them through my divine will called Sankalpam. Matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avasthitaha. So the fifth shloka he has described. That is when Nachamatstani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram. Look at my divine qualities. Bhutabrin nacha bhutasto mamatma bhutabhavanaha. Then the sixth shloka comes. Yathakashasthito nityam vayu sarvatra gomahan तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय. I will read out the commentary first. यथा आकाशे अनालंबने महान् वायुः स्थितः सर्वत्र गच्छति स तु वायुः निरालंबनो मदायत्त स्थितिः इति अवश्यायुभ्यवगमनीयो मया एव धृत इति विज्ञायते. तथा एव सर्वाणि भूतानि तैः अदृष्टे मयि स्थितानि मया एव धृतानि इति उपधारय. यथा आहुः वेदविदः मेघोदयः सागरान् सन्निवृत्तिर् इन्दोर्विभागः स्फुरितानि वायोः विद्युद्विभङ्गो गतिरुष्णरश्मेः विष्णोर्विचित्राः प्रभवन्ति माया इति विष्णोः अनन्यसाधारणी महाश्चर्याणि इत्यर्थः. श्रुतिः अपि एतस्य वा अक्षरस्य प्रशासने गार्गी सूर्यश्चन्द्रमसौ विद्रुतौ तिष्ठतः भीषास्मात् वातः पवते भीषोदेति सूर्यः भीषास्मात् अग्निश्च इन्द्रश्च मृत्युर्धावति पंचमः इत्यादिका सकल इतर निरपेक्ष्य भगवतः संकल्पात् सर्वेषां स्थितः प्रवृत्ति च उक्ताः तथा तत्संकल्पात् एव सर्वेषां उत्पत्ति प्रलयौ अपि इति आह. Now what is the meaning? Now Arjuna asks, you say that you are supporting me as Narayana. Agree. But are you supporting me as the Antaryami from the within? How do I see it? See, there are certain things that we can perceive, certain things that we can't see. One is Paramatma's role that we can't see. That is why this world is distributed into believers and non-believers. Believers feel, yet they don't see. Non-believers will not believe until they see. So this is the problem. That is when Krishna says, wait Arjuna, patience. Tora, patience rakho. मैं explain करता हूँ what Krishna says. Now let us see what he explains. He says, यथा आकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायुः. We all travel by the flight. I have to travel the day after tomorrow by the flight. Half my life goes in Vayu. Now, where am I seated? Inside the flight. What supports the flight? Nothing. See, at least train we can understand. There is Bhumi. Attached to the Bhumi is railway track. And on that railway track is the train. And inside the train I have little confidence. I am inside the train. Train is going on the track. Track has a Adharam. It has got a supporter called Mother Earth. Whereas flight, that doesn't happen. I am seated inside the flight. Who supports the flight? Vayu. Where is Vayu? Nobody supports Vayu. Akasham, we say. Who supports Akasham? We don't know who. See there, we'll see the process of creation. There I'll explain Akasham in detail. What is Akasham? Akasham. Space. Next option. Sky. Next. Surroundings. Next. Galaxy. Next. Ether. Next. Air. Next. One which accommodates, like mother-in-law. Very accommodative. So Akasham is mother. Okay, now all your answers are correct. Now feel happy. Now I'll tell you what Akasham is as per Siddhantam. Akasham is space. See, remember, if you have done Vedanta Kalakshepam, you are listening to Bhagavad Gita, there should be one step progress. From now on, if somebody asks what is Akasham, you should never say Udar Dekho, sky. No. Akasham is space. Where is Akasham? This is all Akasham. All this is Akasham. Nahi sir, aapko pata nahi, ye sab Vayu hai. Vayu has pervaded the space. There is space. Vayu has pervaded that space. So there is Akasham, there is Vayu which is pervading. Now this is when Krishna says, how do you understand that Akasham? So there is Akasham, air has pervaded that space. Can you see Akasham? No. You have to just believe there is space around, the space is Akasham. Do you see air? No, unless and until you get some forest fire from Indonesian island where your sky becomes slightly colored, you just can't see air. You have to believe there is air. And in Delhi, people believe there is oxygen in air. That is their belief. Okay, so everything is belief. So there is Akasham in air. Akasham you can't see. There is air which is pervading that Akasham. That air also you can't see. But what is the only thing you can see? That flight. You are seated in that flight. You believe that this pilot will take you to the destination. But whichever way, Vaikuntham is closer from there. So you have covered half your distance to Vaikuntham, right? When there is this air turbulence and all of that, recite Charamashlokamam, think of your Acharya. You should be able to see Nanyaf Pantha, Ayanaya Vidyate, Yagyena, Yagyama Yajanta Devaha. Recite Purusha Suktam, you will be closer to Vaikuntham. Because you have covered half the distance. Now the point is, you can perceive only the flight. But you are seated inside the flight. The flight is in the air. That air has pervaded the space. Now Krishna says, Yatha akashasthito nityam vayuhu. So who supports, now forget that flight for some time and take a bird. Who supports that bird, Arjuna? That Akasham. No. If Akasham was to support the bird, imagine the bird's Atma is leaving the body of the bird. Even then the body should be able to fly. The moment the Atma that is found within the bird's Shariram exits its body, even if there is Akasham and Vayu that is pervading that air, the material body of that bird will fall on earth, because that which has supported the bird's body has exited the body. Yes, Krishna, you are right. That is how Jatayu fell on the ground. When Ravana took away its wings with the sword called Chandrahasam, Jatayu fell on that ground. Why? Because he was hurt, and in a few seconds and minutes from then, looking at Rama, he discloses the information and his Atma exits the body. Valmiki says, Gachalokan Anuttaman. Nija Mrigamadalama Shubhani Dilavar Jatayu Moksha Palada Pavamana, says Tyagaraja. So the Atma within the body supports the body, not Akasham or Vayu. What supports the Atma? Asked Arjuna. That is me, Arjuna. I have supported the Jivatma from the within of that Jatayu's body. The moment I decided that the karma is over for this particular Janma, I commanded the Jivatma to exit the body. The moment the Antaryami along with the Jivatma exits the body, the material body can't hold any further, it will fall. Like how the Antaratma to the Jivatma of Jatayu controlled its existence, Sthiti. Similarly, for Akasham also, I am the Antaratma and I am the Antaratma for Vayu, who controls the Sthiti and Pravritti of Akasham and Vayu, Arjuna. Arjuna said, it is very tough, Krishna. Can you go ahead? He said, Yathakashasthito nityam Vayuhu sarvatrago mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani upadharaya. I am the one who controls. That is when Arjuna asked, have other people agreed to what you have said? Yes. Because there was a lady called Gargi. She has said, Etasyava aksharasya prashasane Gargi Surya Chandramasau Vidhrutau Tishtataha. The sun and the moon, Bhyausa Chandrarka Nakshatraha, they all stay. Gargi says how? Because of the Antaratma called Narayana. That is why Annamacharya in the 15th century says, Andariki Shri Hare Antaratma, Hare Antaratma, Shri Hare Antaratma, Indulo Jantukula. So Andariki Shri Hare Antaratma. I stay as the Antaratma. That is why when you do Argyam, you don't propitiate Surya alone. You say, Dhyeyaha Sada Savitra Mandala Madhyavarti, the one who stays within the sun. Shankachakra Gadapani, Dwaraka Nilaya Achyuta Govinda, Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam, you surrender. So this Antaratma is mentioned here. That is when Arjuna asks, can you please tell me when all you stay and when you don't stay? That is when Krishna describes Pralayam. Next shloka. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punastani Kalpadau Visrujamyaham. Sthavara jangamatmakani sarvani bhutani mamikam matsharira bhutam prakritim tamaha shabdavachyam namarupa vibhaganarham kalpakshaye chaturmukhavasana samaye matsankalpat yanti tani eva bhutani kalpadav punah visrujami aham yatha ahamaruhu asididam tamobhutam sobhidyaya sharirat swati iti shrutirapi yasya vyaktam shariram ityadika avyaktam akshare liyate aksharam tamasi liyate tamaha pare deve eki bhavati tama asit tamasa gudamagre praketam iti cha sarva bhutani. About 45 minutes back, I said one line, idam sarvam jagat. That time I said it is a combination of chetana and achetana. Chetana comes from the root word chaitanyam. Chaitanyam is knowledge. There are two forms of knowledge. Dharmijnanam, dharma bhuta jnana. We discussed that. Now Krishna gives another category. He says sarvani bhutani. What is this sarvani bhutani? Sthavaram jangamatmakam. Sthavaram, that which doesn't move. The tree, mountains, close to that, the trees are all sthavaram, they don't move. Adaha, achalam, they all don't move. The trees also don't move. Jangamam, that which moves. See, when Vedanta Deshika describes Rama, he says that he was a moving tree. Tree doesn't move. There is a tree which is a wish-shielding tree. It used to be spotted in the backyard of Indra. It was called Kalpaka Vriksham, wish-shielding tree. Indrani didn't have to do anything in her house. If she goes and stands below Kalpaka Vriksham, Louis Vuitton, it will give. Whatever she asks, the tree will give. Wish-shielding tree is Kalpaka Vriksham. So, but that Kalpaka Vriksham has a disadvantage. You have to take the flight, you have to take the Uber, go below it and then ask for it. Whereas Rama, when he granted moksham to Jatayu, Jatayu didn't have to go to Rama. Rama came all the way to Jatayu to grant moksham. Shabari didn't have to take the fruits to Rama's ashramam. Rama came all the way to Shabari ashramam, consumed the fruits and was witness to her moksham. So he went place after place granting moksham. So whatever wish is there, Kalpaka Vriksham grants. But you have to go to Kalpaka Vriksham for your boons to get fulfilled. Whereas Rama granted the boons by going place after place. So he was also Kalpaka Vriksham. Small change. He was not immobile Kalpaka Vriksham. He was mobile Kalpaka Vriksham. So Vedanta Deshika says, Jangama Parijata. So the Jangama. So the world comprises of Sthavaram, the trees that doesn't move. Jangamam, those animals, we are also a part of it. We also move. We are Jangamam. Sarva Bhutani Mamika Prakriti. This, he says, Moola Prakriti is by body. So if you have to understand Moola Prakriti, for that creation has to be described, which will come in the next verse. But Krishna now talks about destruction. So why should you talk about destruction? In Sanatana Dharma, do we call it destruction? There is a word in Sanskritam. It is called Layam. Have you heard of this Laya? Laya Shabdam, people will immediately say destruction. Remember, Layam, the definition is from Karya Dasha. It will attain the Karana Dasha. That is the definition. You have to note this down. From Karya Dasha to Karana Dasha. Two words. Karna, Karya. Karana means cause. Karya means effect. Let us take a nice waffle. Not even a waffle. A cookie. So we make ingredients, make the dough and then place it in the oven and you get the cookie. Some children will never like to eat the cookie that way, the final product. They will crush it and make it into a powder. So cookie is the karyam, effect. The karanam is the powder. So the child likes to eat it the reverse manner. He doesn't want to consume it as a cookie. He will bring it to the karana dasha. So the karya dasha from cookie to the powder which is the karanam is called layam. So we believe in Sanatana Dharma, there is no concept called destruction. It will reach the Karana Dasha. How do we understand this? Shastram says the creation happens for the happiness of Mahalakshmi. See, in the peacock family, we generally see the beautiful foliage of colorful plumage, the feathers of the peacock. What is that peacock? It is male. Hen is the female. Peahen will not look very attractive. Peacock looks attractive. But the beauty is the peacock likes only the peahen. But in most dance forms, the women will always have the feathers. But it is the other way around. So Shastram says the creator is Narayana. The entire creation is his feathers. But he will not keep extending the feathers every now and then. He will wait for the peahen called Mahalakshmi. To impress upon her, he will extend his feathers. That is creation. Then Mahalakshmi, that peahen will say, Bas bahut ho gaya. Control it now. Then he will bring it back to its original form. That is called Layam. He extends it. It is Srishti. He brings it back to its original form. That is Layam. So in Layam, the feathers did not disappear. They were not spread. So when it is spread, it is creation. When it goes back to its Karana Dasha, it is called Layam. So Layam in Sanatana Dharma doesn't mean destruction. Remember this. It will go from the Karya Dasha to the Karana Dasha. So that is when he says, Sarvani Bhutani Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. It will become Moola Prakriti. What is this Moola Prakriti, sir? That will come in the next verse. Till now we are in a very easy portion of 9th Navamodhyayam. Next verse, Krishna will bring us to another level. That is when we will understand how intelligent Arjuna was. Had I been in Arjuna's place, I would have sat there and said, Bas karo yaar. Kya hai? Middle of the battlefield, you are confusing me. I will better fight. Why will I get confused? Imagine the intellect of Arjuna who was able to understand at the same pace what Krishna said. We would have raised our hands immediately. Krishna, एक doubt है वो पहले वाला श्लोका में ना वो क्या तुम बोल रहे थे एक बार दोबारा बोलो ना. We would have got confused. That is why he didn't choose us as the recipient. Do you get? At times you always get jealous. Why should he not tell us? Because he knows our caliber. We will get confused, we will sleep, we will not note it down, we will ask him to repeat again, then we'll tell him you didn't tell this before, whereas Arjuna was very intelligent. So here he says, Kalpakshaye, Kalpakalam. See, this is a very complicated word, Kalpam. I will explain the mathematical calculation to it. So we have, I am telling as per Puranas, morning 6, assuming it's a tropical country, very close to the equator or lying below the Tropic of Cancer. Around 6 a.m. there is sunrise, 6 p.m. sunset. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is day. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is night. So technically 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. This is one full day. 360, roughly 360 days make 1 year. Now don't say 365 days, 6 hours, some minutes. For our calculation, 360 days. This is 1 year. Puranam gives a complicated calculation. It says 4,32,000 such years is Kali Yuga, where we are now. Twice this is Dwaparam, which is 8,64,000. Thrice this is Treta. 4 times this is Krita. So Krita plus Treta plus Dwapara plus Kali is 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 into 4,32,000, which is 43,20,000 years is one Chatur Yugam. Like this, there are 1,000 Chatur Yugams that constitute the Kalpam. Like this, there are 1,000 Chatur Yugams that constitute the second Kalpam. 2 such Kalpams put together is 1 day for Brahma. You are able to understand? 43,20,000 years into 1,000 into 2. That is 1 day for Brahma. Like this, 360 days is 1 year for him into 360. Like this, 100 years is his lifetime. So 43,20,000 years into 1,000 into 2 into 360 into 100. See, the calculator calculates. That is the lifetime of Brahma. In that Brahma's lifetime, we have first 50 years, second 50 years. Each 50 is called by the term Para. Now, the current Brahma has the second Para. That is why in the Sankalpam we say Dvitiya Parardhe. Second 50 years of Brahma is eligible for IRCTC concession. So, Dvitiya Parardhe In that Dvitiya Parardhe, there is one kalpam called Shweta Varaha Kalpe. In that, 1000 Chaturyugams I said, you're able to remember? These 1000 Chaturyugams have 14 supervisors. Each supervisor is called by a title called Manu. We are now in a Manu called Vivaswan. Surya is the Manu. So it is called Vaivasvata Manvantare. So technically every Manu can supervise 71.4 Chaturyugas. So we are in the Vaivasvata Manvantare. In those 71 Chaturyugas, we are in the 28th Chaturyuga, Ashtavimshati Tame. In that Chaturyuga, 28th Chaturyuga, we are in that Kali Yugam. Kali Yugam has how many years? 4,32,000 years. Quarter of it. Don't get into Tamil Nadu definition. Quarter here means 1,08,000 years. So we are in the first quarter. Quarter is Padam. So we are Kali Yuge. Prathame Pade. In that 1,08,000 years, how many years are already over? 5,000. That is how we do Panchangam, right? In that Prathame Pade, this is the time calculation for Brahma. So Brahma will change after 100 years. Next Brahma will come. So when one Brahma finishes his tenure and the next Brahma comes, it is called Kalpakshaye. That is the meaning of that word. So he says, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamika Kalpakshaye. After that Kalpakalam of Brahma is over, then Arjuna asked, what will you do, Krishna? Punastani Kalpadau. I will start creating again. Won't you get bored? No. Arjuna, what did you have tonight? I had dal and chapati. What will you have tomorrow? Dal chapati. Are you bored? No. Similarly, I don't get bored. Punastani kalpadau visrujamyaham. Visrujani. I will do the creation again. So how does this creation happen? I can't help. He has told that way. So Krishna is called Vasudeva. Vasudevasya Puman Vasudevaha, the son of Vasudeva. Vasu also means wealth. That is why people born in the nakshatra of Punar Vasu, they will never lose wealth. Any Punar Vasu nakshatras here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you are planning to lose your cell phone, give it to them. Because Punarvasu Nakshatra people, Punaha Vasu, whatever wealth they have lost, they will gain it back again. So Rama lost Ayodhya, he got it back again. Punaha Vasu, Punar Vasu, he got it. Vasu means wealth. So Vasudeva's son is Krishna Vasudeva. The other meaning for Vasudeva is the one who holds different forms of wealth. So this wealthy Narayana Vasudeva has 3 sub-forms. Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Have you heard of these names? Aniruddho, Apratirata, Pradyumno, Amita Vikramaha, Metamarika. So, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, you can remember with the grace of mother. Who is mother? In Tamil, she is called Thai. What does Thai do? Spa. Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Remember this. SPA. These are all small. See, in chemistry, I used to remember this. Mr. OC, PQ. Meta-resorcinol, paraquinol, orthocatechol. This is the way you remember in this thing. And in inorganic chemistry, you say 84321. 8 KMNO4 plus 4 H2SO4. You will get that equation. You don't have to balance it all. So similarly, VSPA. Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. What does Sankarshana do? Dissolution, Layam. Pradyumna, creation. Aniruddha, sustenance. So these 4 people together is called Chaturmurtihi. In Sahasranamam you get this nama, Chaturmurtihi. The Chaturmurtihi are these 4 people. Now Krishna talks about S, Sankarshana, dissolution. Kalpakshaye, Punastani, Kalpadau, Visrujamyaham. Now Arjuna said, Krishna, you are confusing me step after step. How do you know that I will understand this? That is when Krishna says, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya. You are Kaunteya. Who's Kaunteya? Kunti's son. Why should he call him Kaunteya now? He says, Kunti is my aunt. Thereby, you are no third person to me, Arjuna. I am related to you. Who am I? Vasudeva. What does Vasudeva do? Through Sankarshana Pradyumna Aniruddha, he does dissolution, creation and sustenance. So you are related to me. Since you are related to me, whatever I say, you will be able to understand. Don't get confused. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya. Next, 8th shloka. Prakritim swam avashtabhya. Now, when I do a small summary, you will be able to connect. Don't worry. Prakritim swam avashtabhya. Visrjami punah punaha. Bhutagramam imam kritsnam. Avasham prakritir vashat. Now, I have very briefly told you about dissolution, because at the end of Kalpam this will happen. Now we are going to go to creation. You have to follow step by step. Now I am going to talk about 24 elements now. We are going to start with the first word, Prakriti, Moola Prakriti. This Moola Prakriti, Abhyakta, we say that, Moola Prakriti. So Moola Prakriti is one bhandam. We don't know what exactly that material is. The creation will begin from there. It is called Moola Prakriti. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram. These are the three elements in that stage. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram. Now this Ahankaram is like a bowling game. Many of you might have played. You will have a ball. You will have many bottles. You have to hit the ball in such a way that once it hits one bottle, that is able to push the other bottles down. So there are three gunas in equilibrium. It is called Sattva, Rajo, Tamo Gunam. Krishna now as Paramatma rolls the ball called Moola Prakriti. When that ball called Moola Prakriti rolls, in stage 2 it becomes Mahat. Then it becomes Ahankaram. That Ahankaram will hit the three gunas. It is called Satvika Ahankaram, Rajasa Ahankaram, Tamasa Ahankaram. Three levels. Now we are going to go to the creation of the Panchabhutas. There are 5 Panchabhutas that we believe. Remember, in those days there were Nastikas called Lokayatas. Lokayatas never used to believe in Akasham. They used to believe only in 4. Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. Whereas Vedanta Sampradayam will believe in 5 Panchabhutas. Akasham, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. The same order you have to remember. Why, sir? Because Taittiriya Upanishad says that way. Akashat Vayuhu. The first of the Panchabhutas to come was Akasham. What is Akasham? 100 marks. You will be able to clear NEET in India. Now that is the center of the discussion. You will be able to clear NEET. Akasham is space. Akashad Vayuhu. Vayu is air. How does this air come? That is when Akasham has an inherent nature. It is called Tanmatram. What is the innate nature of Akasham? Sound, Shabdam. So the Tanmatra of Akasha is Shabdam. How do you sense Shabdam? Ear. Correct. So Akasham is the first Panchabhuta. Shabdam is the first Tanmatra. The first Jnanendriya to come will be ear. From Akasham comes Vayu. What is the Tanmatra of Vayu? Sparsham. Feel. How do you feel? Skin. So that will be the second Jnanendriya. Third, Vayor Agni. Agni, what is a speciality? You can see there is a form. Form is, you've got a Rupam. How do you sense Rupam? Ice. From Agni comes Apaha, water. What is the speciality of water? Taste. What is taste? Ruchi. How do you sense taste? With your tongue. So that is the next Pancha Jnanendriya. The last to come will be Prithvi. Prithvi is earth. How do you sense earth? With a Gandham, smell. How do you smell? Nose. So you got Akashat Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agneir Apaha, Adbhya Prithvi. You got Akasham, space. Vayu, air. From that, Agni, fire. From fire, water. Water, then comes finally Prithvi. What are the 5 tanmatras? Shabdam, Sparsham, Rupam, Ruchi, Gandham. What are the 5 Jnanendriyas? Ear, then you have got skin, then you have got eyes, then you have got tongue, then you have got nose. Who suffered at the hands of Hiranyaksha? Mother Earth. Prithvi. What is the speciality of Mother Earth? Smell. So the solution to protect Mother Earth came as Varaha from the nose. You are able to link the 5. So you got Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Tanmatras and Pancha Jnanendriyas. 5 plus 5 plus 5. Next. Now, let us say I have made some vada. I have to go and consume. How will I reach? I need to walk till that place, look if nobody is seeing, take those vadas and put it into my mouth, chew. Correct? So my hands, my legs, my face, my excretory and reproductive organs are called karmendriya because I do karma, action with it. So Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Bhuta, Pancha Tanmatra. How many? 20. Then Manas, there is a Manas. Then before that there is Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram, Manas, Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Bhuta, Pancha Tanmatra together is called Achetanam. This 24 together is called Achetanam. Correct? In this, I'm sorry, I have to go one step ahead in this. So in this Prakriti, I spoke about Mula Prakriti. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram, Pancha Tanmatras. How many do you have? Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram and Tanmatras. 3 plus 5, 8. That is why Krishna says, Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya. Ashtabhya. These 8 together come in Prakriti Arjuna. Purinjudo? We don't want Bhagavad Gita, sir. It is okay if we don't get moksham also. We will stay back in this world. Why does Krishna have to do? Krishna has done it that way. What to do? Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram and Pancha Tanmatras. These 8 is called Prakriti. Okay. Then you have got Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas which come from the first set. It is called Prakriti Vikriti. Last comes another set which is called Vikriti. So Prakriti, Prakriti Vikriti, Prakriti Vikriti. That is why we say in Lakshmi Ashtotram, Prakritim Vikritim Vidyam Sarva Bhuta Hita Pradam. So Prakriti will have no cause. Vikriti will have no children effect. Whereas Prakriti Vikriti will have both father and effect. So all this together Krishna says will come in creation Arjuna. Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya Visrijami Punah Punaha. Then Arjuna asked, how does this creation happen? Now, in that there are 2 creations. One is called Samashti Srishti. The second is called Vyashti Srishti. How do we understand this? See, imagine my daughter or my son comes and tells me, Father, you have been cooking for a very long time. I want to make rasam today. All of you have heard rasam? This is the only dish that I can relate to. So if you have not heard of it, hear it now. So this is rasam. In Kannadadalli ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಸಾರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ತೆಲುಗುలో ಏನು చెప్తారు? ಚಾರು. Okay, ಸಾರು, ಚಾರು, rasam. You're able to get? And Sri Vaishnavas have a unique name. Satram. At the end of the day, it is the same product. Now we are going to discuss that product. My daughter has come and asked me, Father, you have been cooking for long. I want to cook rasam today. First thing is, I will get petrified because I have to consume that rasam. And I want to survive for longer time. So, with this desire in me, I don't have to demotivate my daughter. I say, don't worry. You come after 15 minutes. I will immediately go to the kitchen. I will take small cups. In one cup, I will take some mustard seeds. In the other cup, I will keep some jeera. In the other, I will keep asafoetida. Who is asafoetida? Hing. Asafoetida is the Purvacharya Surakshita, name given by our Purvacharyas. So asafoetida or hing, I will keep it in the next cup. Some curry leaves from the backyard. Then I will take some tamarind, make it into a nice pulp. take the tomato and cut it into pieces, then keep some oil so that the tempering happens at the end through it. And there is one specific vessel found in the state of Tamil Nadu for making rasam. What is that? Iyachombu. That Iyachombu, if you do Aradhanam without anything, it will become one lingam. So there is one method of making that, using that Iyachombu. So I keep that vessel. So I've kept all the ingredients separately. Now I write one recipe. I say, take the tamarind pulp, put some hing to it, add little salt to taste, put some curry leaves over it, add the cut tomatoes, and towards the end temper it, and then you will see the bubbles coming from the middle. In Tamil it is called Nadu Kodi. After that you have to finish your rasam. I will write this recipe and keep. Now my daughter will walk into the kitchen. Raja Adi Raja, Raja Martanda, Raja Gambhira. I have done all the arrangements. Now I would have put that vessel, made that rasam. Finally I will say, no, I am supervising you. You go, I will take care. No, I will see. Fine, it is done. Now slowly that rasam will be kept down. Next, that next door person will come and ask, oh, the rasam was smelling so good. Who made that rasam? My daughter entirely made it. She didn't make it, I made it. Lastly, she just took that rasam and kept it on that kitchen floor. But I give all the name to my daughter. Similarly, Brahma does only Vyashti Srishti. Parabrahmam does Samashti Srishti. Parabrahmam has created from Mula Prakriti, Mahat. From Mahat, Ahankaram. Then Ahankaram, the three gunas, Sattva, Rajo, Tamo, Gunam becomes Pancha Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Panchabhuta, Panchatanmatra. So Prakriti, Vikriti, Srishti is done. Till now, it is called Samashti Srishti. Now Brahma comes into picture. He will say, Abhi mujhe kya karna hai? Then the Lord will say, I have written one recipe book, how to create human beings. Then Brahma will think, what gunam should I give? For some people you give Asura Gunam. For some you give Asura Rakshasa Gunam. Good people, very few you keep here and there. Sattva Gunam, just keep one in the family. Like that in Hiranyakashipu's family, keep one Prahlada. In Ravana's family, keep one Vibhishana. In Kamsa's family, keep one Akrura. Rest of them should be completely anti-social elements. They should have Rajo Gunam and Tamo Gunam. Brahma, will you do this? Brahma said, I can do this very well, because only if you tell me you have to increase the proportion of Sattvic people, it is a problem. Asura Srishti and Rakshasa Srishti, I will do it in plenty. Fikar mat kijiye Narayan. And jo aap mujhe de diye hain, sौंप diye hain ye, mujhe uttaraadhikari bana diye hain, main pura kar lunga. This is called as Vyashti Srishti. So what Paramatma does at the start is called Samashti. What creation happens later through Brahma is called Sadvaraka Srishti or Vyashti Srishti. So Krishna says, Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya. That Ashtabhya I already explained. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram and the Pancha Tanmatras. 3 plus 5 put together is 8. Visrujami Punah Punaha. I will keep on doing this creation again. Bhutagramam Imam Kritsnam. So he says, Bhutagramam, this creation of Deva, Manushya, Tiryak, Sthavaram, Arjuna, I do through Brahma. Avasham Prakriter Vashat. Thereby, Prakritehe Avashat. So I don't come under that control at all. Next, Arjuna asks a very pertinent question. This is the most relatable question to us. Now we have crossed that toughness of Bhagavad Gita. Next question is very easy, don't worry. Nachamantani karmani Nibadhananti dhananjaya Udasina vadasinam Asaktam teshu karmasu. Now Arjuna asks Krishna, as Paramatma, you have brought the variety to the universe. Remember, this world is not homogeneous. It is heterogeneous. There is so much of variety. Then Krishna, aren't you responsible for the disparity in this world? See, some people do not have blood pressure. Some people have. Those who have blood pressure will get higher blood pressure looking at people who don't have. உங்களுக்கு BP இல்லையா? BP இல்லையா? அதுவே BP இல்லையா? So, imagine a person who's diabetic, he's taking metformin and glimepiride combination. When you see another diabetic person, the happiness that you get. Sugar, when did you get diabetes? That person will say, this is what my parents have left for me. So this is our parampara asset. My father and mother have it, both of them have given it to me. At least had they given Ramayana book, it is okay. What have your parents given? Diabetes. So, the world has disparity in it. Some parents may have children who have deformities at birth. Until you are in that place, you will never realize what pain they undergo. So the world is full of disparities. One is short, the other one is tall. What will the short person think? Wish I was that tall person. The tall person will say, you don't know what problems I face. In my house, to bring any dabba from the shelf, they will keep calling me, come here, come here, come here. Wish I was short. Had I been short, they would have never called. They would have used a batla. Whereas now, I am the batla of my house. So everybody has a problem. So the world is full of disparity. That is when some said, Krishna, you are very close to Arjuna. How lucky. He is so friendly with you. You are so friendly with him. But I am not so happy. Remember, one Kunti Putra Kaunteya Karna was on the opposite side. The other Kunti Putra Kaunteya was fortunate enough to listen to Bhagavad Gita. So from the same mother, two sons, they are on opposite sides. So Arjuna asked, what kind of creation is this, Krishna? Aren't you responsible for the disparity that we see in this world? Pertinent question. Now let's see what Krishna says. Nachamam tani karmani nibaddhananti dhananjaya udasina avadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Yes, the world is full of disparities, Arjuna. But I am not the cause of it. Hey, you are escaping from this. How are you not the cause? That is when Krishna says, see, it is their own karma which is the cause. This is where karma features in our theory. Till now we have not brought karma. Now in this karma will feature. We say that karma of us, whatever Purva Janma karma I have acquired, is responsible for this shariram. It is responsible for me getting cholesterol. It is responsible for me getting diabetes. Which? The body. Why is this body formed? Because of my Purva Janma karma. Now there will be a pertinent question. What was responsible for your last Janma? Purva Janma karma before that. Then at one point you will get caught. You will say, what happened to the first Janma? Correct? That means there should be, like Jandhan account, somebody has to put some karma in that account. That is when Shastram says it is Anadi Vasana. Anadi Janma. You believe that Janma is number one, number two. It is a cyclic process. See, when you are standing in a line, you can never say which child is the first child. Correct? So, this Anadi Vasana means Janma has begun at the start. So, our karma is responsible for our body. So, Krishna says, Nachamam tani karmani. Why should Krishna Paramatma excuse himself from karma? Why? There are two reasons. Again, listen to this very carefully. There are two words that you need to learn now. Vaishamyam and Nairghrinyam. This comes in Brahma Sutram. Vaishamya Nairghranyena sapekshatvad, says Badarayana. Nairghrinyam is mercilessness. Vaishamyam is partiality. See, if we say that Bhagavan decides our birth, then we will put partiality on him. We will say, he likes Ambani better, not us. Then the partiality will come on them. See, generally when we used to go for competitions way back in 1990s and 2000s, and we never used to win, we used to tell, the judge was very partial. He liked Padma Seshadri and gave the first prize to Padma Seshadri, not to this school. So we will generally say, teacher is partial. Even we will put this partiality tag on our parents. You see in many families, the children will accuse the mother. You are always supportive of the brother, not me. You are partial. This partiality is a dosham. In Shastram, it is called Vaishamyam. Remember this word. Paramatma should not have Vaishamyam. The moment Paramatma says, yes, I only decide your bodies, then Vaishamyam will come to him. If Vaishamyam goes to Paramatma, Paramatma will cease to become Paramatma. So Paramatma should excuse himself from Vaishamyam. One point. Krishna will tell later in this chapter, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Arjuna, all the world is equal to me. I don't see the differences. But Shuka Brahman was asked the question by Parikshit. Parikshit asks in Bhagavatam, hey Shuka Brahman, I have a question. You say that Krishna said Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. World, I treat the world equally. Then my doubt is, how did he punish Hiranyakashipu and graced or blessed Prahlada? If he is the father of both, he should treat them both equally. One he tore open. The other he started caressing. How can this happen? Samavpriya Subir Brahman Lokanam Abhayankaraha is the shlokam in Bhagavatam. So Krishna says, yes, the world is equal to me. Then Arjuna asked, are you responsible for the disparity? No. Partiality I don't do. That is not with me, Vaishamyam. Are you merciless? Naighranyena sapekshatvat. I am not merciless as well. Then who is responsible for this heterogeneity in this world, Krishna? Karma. Under whose control karma comes? Arjuna, go to the next question. Because if you say that karma is not under Paramatma's control, there is another point. That means in this world, there are two people. One Paramatma, second karma. See, in Sanatana Dharma, everything boils down to one Paramatma. So the moment you say, no, Paramatma alag hai, karma dusra hai. So there will be two power centers, which is wrong. So power center has to be one. But Krishna excuses and says, karma comes under me and the karma directs you. Okay. Now, Paramatma controls the karma. Now we say that our karma is responsible for the body. Does it mean that we have a free will? Have you heard of this question? Do we have a free will? If we say Paramatma controls us, then do we have a free will? Yes. So Shastram answers this very carefully. It says that Swatantriyam which is subservient to Paratantriyam. See, there are two words that you need to understand. Paratantra, Swatantra. Paratantra means dependent. Swatantra means independent. Paramatma is Swatantra. So the quality is Swatantriyam. Jivatma is dependent. So it is Paratantra. So the quality is Paratantriyam. Independence, Swatantriyam. Dependence, Paratantriyam. Only when you have independence, you will have free will. But who has got Swatantriyam? Paramatma. Do we have a free will? Yes, that is an iota. It is called that Swatantriyam which is under Paratantriyam. How do we understand this? Imagine there is a function in the family. You have to go fix up a marriage hall. So the parents take their little child to that marriage hall. The marriage hall is empty. The moment you see an empty hall, you will get elated. See, when I used to work in Mumbai, on Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons, some of the days the local trains used to get empty. When you see the Mumbai local empty, half your time will not go in sitting. You will be running from place to place with seat to seat. We like it only when it is packed, where the Jivatmas push you into the train. And one station, whether you like it or not, they will push you out. So we like that state. When we see the train empty, we will get elated. We will not know which seat to go. But remember, we keep jumping seat to seat. We have the free will. But we don't jump out of the train. So train is the boundary and the free will operates within the train. Imagine you go to a marriage hall which is empty. The child is extremely excited to run around the hall. The mother understands the joy in the child. The mother will tell the child, you go run wherever you want. It is your day today. But don't go outside the hall. So not going outside the hall makes it dependence. Running within the hall is independence. So this Swatantriyam is subservient to Paratantriyam. So in this Janma where the Jivatma is within the body, with that little intuitive power given by the Shastram or not reading Shastram, there is a free will. That level of free will decides our intensity of karma, says Krishna. Now, Nachamam tani karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya udasinam avadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Now Krishna, Arjuna asked, hey Krishna, you keep telling that you have been born amidst us. Does it mean that karma affects you? Because if karma leads to birth, karma leads to obtaining the material body, then even you have obtained your body. Does it mean you are subservient to karma? If you say that you are subservient to karma, don't you also become a Jivatma like us? If you are becoming a Jivatma like us, how do you have the ability to grant moksham, which is the right of only Paramatma? Krishna said, wait, hold on. Arjuna, even I have taken a birth like you. I have also had a previous birth like you. Arjuna said, Dekho, both of us same points, right? You have had many births, I have had many births. Krishna said, wait, yes, but I remember all my births. Do you remember? No, Krishna, only when you told, I remember that there is something called birth, which is previous birth. Yes. Bahuni me vyaditani janmani tavacharjuna. Arjuna, both of us have taken many births. I remember all of them. You remember none. So Krishna, what is the difference? That is why my earlier births and the current birth is not called Janma. It is called Avatara. Whereas yours is called Janma. So Krishna, what is the difference? You are born as a result of your Purva Janma karma. The karma decides your birth. Oh, I am born as a result of karma. Krishna, then what are you born as a result of? Ichha. I desire that I have to be Krishna, so I am born as Krishna. For you, you never had this desire. Your karma said you have to be born as Kunti's son Arjuna, and you are born. I am born as a result of my Ichha. I decide who should be my father. In your case, you are born and later you know that he is your father. Whether you like him or not, you are P Arjuna. But for me, I choose what my initial has to be. If I wanted, I could have become N Krishna, Nanda Gopal's son. But I chose that I have to become Vasudeva Krishna, V Krishna. But upon my birth, I decided for a few years I will become N Krishna. So I went. Whether I am N Ram or D Ram. Whether I am N Krishna or V Krishna, I decide. N Ram doesn't decide. So, I'm just telling you this example. I become that Janma. So, Bahuri me vyaditani janmani tavacharjuna. I am born as a result of my Ichha, whereas you are born as a result of your karma. Nachamam tani karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. Hey Dhananjaya, that rule which I said, Ichha karmadinam, does it bind me? Udasina, avadasinam, asaktam, teshu karmasu. So I remain unconcerned about it. I am just a sakshi. I keep seeing what you all do. So I am the creator. I am the one who sustains. I am the one who will take part in the dissolution. But I am not bound by the karma that you are bound of. Then what are you? I am Paramatma, Arjuna. What does Paramatma mean? The one above whom or equal to, there is no one. Paroma, there is no one greater than him. There is no one equal to him. He is called Paramatma. Arjuna asked, how do you decide it is he? Can't it be she? You are very male chauvinistic, Krishna. Are Arjuna, I am not an application form where I say he / she / it. Whether you treat me as a vastu or as a she or as a he, I am beyond the genders that you can think of. At the end of the day, I am Paramatma who controls. That when Krishna said, Arjuna said, how do I understand your birth? See, I'll give you one mundane example. You will be able to understand this very better after that. Think 40 years back, not now, not 2024, around 1963 or 73. Where there was a family of 5 sons, 3 daughters. The first son gets married. And in those days there used to be one concept called arranged marriage. So where they will show one girl to the boy and vice versa, the boy to the girl. The families will decide, the children have to finally succumb to that pressure. So then they will marry each other. Now imagine the first son gets married. The daughter-in-law comes home. And imagine the mother-in-law of 1960s. You have to keep one black and white frame. A traditional house. Atala, Vidala, Sudala, Rasatala, Taladala, Mahadala, Patala. 7 distinct portions in that house. The backyard of the house will have a well. And incidentally, well used to have water in Chennai. So imagine a well, and there is a washing stone. You never had whirlpool, so you had a washing stone. So whatever anger you want to exhibit on a person, you can do it on that cloth, and you can see the number of dwaram that comes in that cloth. So you have to keep hitting. And to fetch water, there used to be a beautiful vessel around which, because you have had a Mangalya Sutra, you will tie one around that Yanti Mangala Sutrata. So when you have to put that vessel inside the well waters to fetch the well water. Imagine a day, the daughter-in-law, I'm talking about 1963, she had to fetch the waters from the well. While she was fetching, that particular vessel fell into the waters. The husband is out. He has gone for some government job, because only if you had a government job you will get married or you were given in marriage. So imagine the person has left for his job to work above the bench and below the bench. So he has left for the government job and he has gone, and that time that vessel falls into the waters. The poor, meekly, very feeble voiced daughter-in-law would say, "Mommy, Kodam thannila vilundurthu. Kodam illama nee ulla varakudadu." The mother-in-law of 1963. If she does it now, she'll be behind bars. Now, so the mother-in-law says, "You should not step inside the house without that vessel." Why? Because that is the only vessel I got from my mother-in-law. She left no other property. And this particular vessel has dent at 8 sides. It is like the vehicle of Delhi. All vehicles in Delhi will have dents. So this is that, it is called Ashtavakra Ghatam. 8 places it has got Vakra. So she says, this is the only vessel that my mother-in-law gave. Looking at the deformities of the vessel, I am reminded of my mother-in-law. You should not come inside the house without that vessel. So this daughter-in-law thinks, what audacity this lady has to tell, I will not fetch that vessel, let her son come and fetch that vessel. 6 o'clock, the husband comes. And as he enters, he sees the backyard. A traditional house, you could see the backyard portion. The wife is seated on the washing stone. She seems to be frowning. He runs all the way to her and asks, what happened? She says in summary what all transpired and says that vessel has fallen into the waters. This man is like Vedant Madhavan. He knows how to swim. He jumps into that well. Okay, and as he plunges into the well waters, the wife expects him to take that ghatam. He plunges and his hand comes out of the waters. With what? With the soap dabba that fell 1 month back. So the wife collects that soap dabba and keeps it separately. Then he goes, plunges again. Then he gets one aluminium plate and gives it to the wife. She keeps that aluminium plate. Again he plunges and gets that ghatam. So to get one ghatam, he had to plunge thrice. And every plunge need not result in that ghatam, but it gave some vastu. Likewise, this well of samsaram has many jivatmas immersed in it. Paramatma does one plunge as Ramavataram and gets one jivatma out for moksham. He plunges as Krishna and gets the other ghatam, one jivatma for moksham. So Paramatma did not jump into the waters like the ghatam. It was the ghatam's karma to jump. Whereas when Paramatma jumped, he didn't jump because of karma. Out of his ichcha, he wanted all these objects to get out. So for giving moksham to the jivatmas, Paramatma takes avataras. So Krishna says, I am born as Krishna to elevate you, Arjuna, to Vaikuntham. Just because I am born alongside you, don't think my birth is as you. The cause that has resulted in the effect is my ichcha for you, it is your karma. So he says, Nachama amtani karmani nibaddhananti dhananjaya udasina avadasinam masaktam teshu karmasu. That is when Arjuna says, Krishna, I have understood the greatness of you, but can you please talk more about the sattvika prakritis, the devotees that will be born in Simhapuri, Singapore, how great those devotees are. Krishna said, I will describe to you, Arjuna, on Saturday at 7 p.m. when those Mahans, devotees of Simhapuri will come again at 7 p.m. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to discuss, see, for one verse it takes 25 minutes. And in 1.5 hours, Arjuna listened to 700 verses. Imagine Arjuna's caliber. Now, I have 2 announcements to make. Please wait patiently. I'll finish it off fast. I have authored volume 1 in English on the Ramayana in the lines of, it will be like a novel. Any person across any age can read that book. You'll be able to understand Ramayana better is my assumption. 92,000 words, 108 chapters. I've covered Uttarakandam, one section of Uttarakandam, entire Balakandam, entire Ayodhya Kandam, till Paduka Pattabhishekam in Ramayanam. I've covered this in English. This is not some poem. It will be like a novel, 108 chapters. And each of the chapters are also supported with beautiful illustrations by Keshav, a great artist, and Upasana, some artifacts she has drawn. So this book is released by HarperCollins on the 22nd of June this month in Chennai. Then it will take at least a week or 2 for it to reach Simhapuri, Singapore. So there are these QR codes placed. I have placed them outside as well. They are placed here as well. You can just take a snap, a click of it, and you can fill that form. This will lead you to a form where you have to fill your name, your number, your email ID. So that will be available in the first week of July. You will receive that book by HarperCollins, which I have authored, Ramayanam Volume 1. It is readable across ages. So do not worry at all, and the English will be, see, Ramayana Mahabharatam is fairly simple compared to Bhagavad Gita. So you don't worry, it will go in a very, very seamless manner. So just scan the codes here, or they are placed outside as well. Point number 1. Point number 2, many of you have been knowing that I take people on yatras. So 90 to 95% of the seats are filled. I'll tell you what the yatras are. November month we are taking to Navadvaraka Pushkar, full, no seats. December first week to Bhutan. December last 10 days, 2 batches to Cambodia. And then January last week to Puri Jagannath for 7 days, that Jagannath Yatra. And February first week, Ramayana in Sri Lanka. These are the yatras. Ramayana in Sri Lanka is filled. Navadvaraka Pushkar is filled. Bhutan, we have a handful of seats, about 4 or 5 seats. But then, whether you have to book the tickets or, because we have a capacity of 120, so we might have blocked 100 tickets on the flight. Might have booked. Cambodia, similarly, you are very close to Cambodia. So it just takes a flight for you to reach Siam Reap. So during my yatras, we bring the cooks from Bharatadesham along to cook more korambu and parupusili. Sattvic food, Sattvika Ahankaram we will ensure. So Sattvic food. And then there will be lectures of mine on Paduka Sahasram in Tamil every day for 2 hours. So for all these details, what should we do? You have to write to an email ID, because there are a few seats left. For Cambodia, we have about 15, Bhutan 3 or 4. So for this, you have to write a mail and get those details. What is that mail ID? I will tell thrice, like Indian court. I will repeat it thrice. Note it down. Don't come and ask me again. I will tell thrice. Yatra by Y-A T-R-A, Yatra by B-Y by D-S, Dushyanth Sridhar, D-S, beyond boundaries. B for boy, B for boy. So Yatra, YATRABYDSBB@gmail.com. So there will be lectures of mine, and wherever there is architecture, I will also explain the nuances of the temple architecture there. So for this, there are a few seats left for Cambodia. You may write to this mail ID and get Ramayanam book. Please do write. And there is one more small announcement. So 22nd of June 2024, I released this book in Singapore. You will get it in a week or by the first week of July. Next year, 22nd June 2025, there will be an aptitude test online for this particular book. And there are some prizes as well, cash prizes from our trust. Why aptitude test, sir? We want to build a cat, we want to he sat, we want to do GMAT. For Moksham, you write this exam. Let us build the cat, not build the cat or dog later. First you write, see, only when your knowledge in your scriptures increase, you will know dharma better. See, in Tamil, Valluvar says, Tochanittu Oorum Malarkeni Mandarku Kachanittu Oorum Arivu. Till we live, our quench and thirst for knowledge should always be there. Every day you should learn something new. And only when there is a test, in the Indian Bharatadesha mentality, you will read that book twice or thrice. So don't worry, what if you don't do that well in that exam? That is not the point. You will at least prepare for that exam. Immaterial of age, don't think I'm 70 plus, can I do? I honestly feel age doesn't matter in your aptitude. If you have the desire and the penchant to do that exam, you will do. So register for the book, get the book and start reading. I am 100% sure when you read this book, don't think I'm trying to hard sell. I completely believe with full conviction that this Ramayanam will be the Ramayanam in the list of books that have come till now. Because I have taken the Saubhagyam by my Acharyas to bring the essence from the 6 commentaries, lost commentaries of Ramayanam, which is generally not in vogue. So please do read. It is in English. I won't use any Sanskrit. Udasinam, Adasinam, Naishamyam, Vaishamyam, Nairgrinyam. Today we learnt all these tattvas, right? None of that will come. Ramayanam will be a seamless read. After listening to Bhagavad Gita, Ramayanam is a waffle walk. Or a cake walk. If you like cake, take cake. Cake walk. It is very easy. Please do read the book, and please do, whether you read the book or not, please do sit for that exam. I am sure you will all do very well. So these QR codes are placed outside as well. Tomorrow, same time, 7 to 9, the last day. After that, you can celebrate your Independence Day. Then you become Swatantra after that. Okay, but tomorrow morning we have a youth session. I think 160 people have registered. There we will be taking some question answers, lot of question answers from the registered youth. We have some age group as well, right? 14 to 29 years. So we have 160 people registered who have come. So between 10, it starts at 10. You please make that announcement. So we will have that. So I'm sure those of you who have not registered can register now as well. So that will be a youth session. Predominantly I will be taking questions. So if you have children who keep on asking questions, send them tomorrow. I will do whatever little best I can. One small surgery I will do and send. Okay. Kavitakika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashalini Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.
हृत्पूर्वक प्रणामाः।